With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball in a run solar.
Patinongopinda tunhu chokutanga kukudzorerai pamakaziwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zheadmaster nenyaya yokuti anga ane udzamu nejikiniki.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on Sly Media TV.
It is a few days just before, or to some, it is a few hours just before they cast their vote. Have you already made up your mind whom are you going to vote for? This is the program, The Candidate, where we invite those that are contesting in the elections and also political activists to come and share their views about the upcoming general elections. We hope we find you well. My name is Robert Tafumane. Remember, if you can't find us here on Sly Media, we are also live streaming on other social media platforms. But for us, we have also our YouTube channel, Sly Media Productions. And also, remember to follow us on our social media platforms, WhatsApp, and also LinkedIn. We are also on X, formerly Twitter, and also on Instagram. And what is it that we are talking about today? We are talking about the current affairs of the political environment in the country and also in the opposition MDCT movement for democratic change, Shanghai, whatever the name you want to call it. As you know, a few weeks ago, the leader of the opposition, Thokozani Mwonzora, pulled out of the race. Reasons for his pullout differs from whatever angle you are coming from. So today we have invited a senior member from the opposition MDC to share us the state of affairs within that political party. Honorable, thank you very much for accepting our invite.
Thank you. Thank you.
When I asked Senator Mwonzora, saying it is in the history of the opposition for a presidential candidate to pull out, he said, no, this is actually the second time because Tsvangirai pulled out, in 2008 for other reasons. But at least Tsvangirai had contested in the elections, but he pulled out of the runoff. How did you receive the news that your presidential candidate is pulling out of the presidential race?
Okay, no, thank you so much for the invite and greetings to the viewers at home and wherever they may be. Allow me, with your leave, to take this opportunity. The elections are upon us, as you've rightly said, and I want to thank Zimbabweans at large for the 3 years I got the opportunity to serve them in Parliament. It was quite a journey, and I want to thank the media through you. It was a very challenging at times, but most of the times very nice and good experience. The engagements which we had throughout, whether in Parliament or when I was a spokesperson for the MDCT and then President Dr. Khupe. And of course, we want to pass this message to the electorate that a vote means mapping out a future that you want for yourself and your children. So what is going to happen of Zimbabwe going forward is what we, as the board of directors of this organization called Zimbabwe, are going to be engaged in on the 23rd. So yes, I just thought, let me take liberty to appreciate you and the media at large, the people of Zimbabwe, and my colleagues from all different parties that I shared that august house with. It was quite a fulfilling journey. To your question, you know, of course I'm here already and I accepted the invitation, but in view of what my colleagues are going through in the MDCT, we've got about 24 that are contesting in the National Assembly and quite a number of councillors. It's a bit unfair because I think so much energy and attention, and I would even say negative energy, is focused on one person. And notwithstanding his position in the party, but I think his contribution in this whole debacle is not to the benefit of the candidates. And having been in this journey of contesting elections, I know the energy that goes in there. I saw one of the contestants yesterday, not from our party, but from the CCC. I mean, very fine young men, but they had lost so much weight because that's in the nature of campaigning.
Yes.
A lot of resources get expanded towards that, and a lot of sacrifices. And it becomes unfair to dedicate so much time to one individual.
Yeah.
And moreover, when that contribution by that individual or the discussion about that individual seems to be hurting the candidates. And I'm willing to come back immediately after the elections. And then we can traverse whatever question you want to ask. I'm very much willing. But I would really request that to respect my colleagues who are really running a tough election, which has not been made easy by the leadership. Because this whole nonsense of ZEC refused our people. ZEC didn't refuse anyone. We didn't have money. From the information I've gathered, we didn't have money. And so all of this whole charade that is now happening is extremely unfair. It's very, very unfair to the candidates that managed to register. And the less said about this whole saga, the better.
Yeah, but it's news because election is a process. In as much as you have one day, it becomes like an event. It becomes a process where for 5 years, obviously, as a party, you're preparing for these elections.
We should have.
So what were you doing?
Anyway, the point I'm driving at is I agree, it's news. And of course, from your side, is if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't sell. So you want it to bleed, and I'm pleading with you, and I'm saying, me commenting more, I'm actually undermining my colleagues on the field, and I really want them to do well. And it's not their fault. It's very, very unfair what is happening to them. The dust that is being kicked everywhere, I don't think, in any event, this so-called withdrawal, ZEC has called it bluff because the name is still there.
Yes.
You see? So I really plead with you. Let's call me on the 24th, if you don't mind. Let's discuss it at length.
But the reasons for pulling out, are they genuine? And obviously, looking at it, that is your leader, Mwonzora, is a legal guru. He knows the process. You know, you're supposed to withdraw 21 days before. He has done it well, you know, with a few days remaining. So I just want to understand, you know, because you guys, you discuss these things.
I know you mean well, my friend. I really feel sorry. You know, Honorable Takesh, yesterday he sent a video of people in distress because he says his campaign manager's homestead has been razed to the ground. And he said it's ZANU supporters or ZANU activists or whatever, right? So I'm making the point that I have soldiers on the ground fighting a very tough election. And I don't want to be discussing these, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said at times dealing with these adult politicians, it feels like adult daycare. And most of what has been happening, really, in view, it feels like adult daycare. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't even be discussing this.
Let's put the elections aside.
Yeah.
Let's get into MDCT. You have a leader, and what was the situation? Was it, had MDCT become a one-man band, or decisions within that party were made by the National Executive Council?
It's the same things, because then it's going to come up to a headline, and then it will achieve exactly what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid more negative news about the MTC when we have people already on the ground running an election to assist this party. So I'm really willing to talk about politics at large, elections and whatsoever, but I'm really running away from zooming into the MTC. And I'm saying, I accept, you can call me on the 24th or anytime, and I will talk at length. I'll answer all your questions.
Okay.
And I must apologize to our viewers. I'm very, very sorry about this.
Okay,
but
as you run away from the negative
yes.
Issues within that, tell me one good news, positive news from your party that may encourage those that are campaigning.
Okay. I can tell you that we have a history of delivering. Right. Even during the most difficult times, you would have seen some of us, the work we were doing in Parliament, which was now public for everyone. But if you go back to our constituents, I can even speak for myself, the work that I was doing for my people. And that is why I'm inundated with messages people saying the fact that we are not running is just not good for the country, it's not good for us. So these soldiers I'm telling you that we have in the field, the 24 of them and those that are councillors, it's another good story. Because in the midst of all of this confusion and difficulty, you have people that are willing to take out from their own pockets because they believe in the struggle, they believe in the values of this fight, that there must be an alternative for the people of Zimbabwe. Let me share something with you. In this country, we have a country that has got a two-tier, be it judiciary, be it the economy, everything. If you go today, whether you go to Econet or you go to Net1, and you want data, and our people right now, you don't have a license to broadcast on the terrestrial television. You are broadcasting using YouTube, Facebook, and then many other social media. And for general public to access that, they must have data. You go and try and buy data, you're not going to find it in RTGS. If it's in RTGS, the most you're going to get, I think it's 1,200 megabytes. That's the most you're going to get, right? Now, if you need real data to do real stuff, we're talking 2 gigs upwards, 5 gigs and whatever, all that is in USD, exclusively USD, right? You can't say to them, okay, I see it in USD, can I pay you in RTGS in line with the rate? No, it's exclusively in USD, right? But the story doesn't end, the scandal doesn't end there. In a country where we're earning in RTGS, you've got products that are sold exclusively in USD. You go and buy this so-called USD airtime so that you can then convert to data bundles. If you go and buy that airtime, whilst you have your Zim dollar airtime, and then you happen to make a call before you convert into data bundles, you know what happens? They eat into the USD airtime. No, Rob, that should not be okay. They eat into this USD airtime. Why? They know that USD it preserves value. So they make it a point that you can't get value from them in RTGS. You go and get the USD, they start eating at it. And there's no one to protect our people. No one. Nothing. So I'm writing a letter to the minister immediately after the elections on this matter. Because tele-education is the in thing now. Telemedicine and all these other things. Basically, you can't survive without connectivity. So those are issues that I think our people need to be grappling with, to say, why should we accept this? Where is our government when all of this is happening?
Where is our government? Where were our members of parliament? Where were our senators? Because this thing did not happen yesterday. For example, you were in parliament for 3 years. You know, did you ever raise these things and say, our people out there are suffering? As a government, we need to do this. Because we have given you the mandate as the electorate to say, go and speak on behalf of us.
You know, I fought strongly the issue of the parallel market. Fought it very, very strongly. And on several occasions, make-believe initiatives were started where people are going to be arrested and all those things when nothing of such would happen. My very last contribution, part of my last contribution, I know the one that went viral was when I argued about this so-called patriotic bill, which I termed it unpatriotic bill. I know that's the one that went viral. But those last days, I also argued strongly that, and I think we were arguing about the issue of the medical professionals in terms of striking and not striking and all those things, and they basically took away their right to strike, and I was fighting against that. And I went as far as saying we ought to get rid of salaries in Zim dollars. Because I was dealing with this whole issue that we are talking about, of saying it is not fair that today you pay me in Zim dollars and you say that's the currency which this country operates in. And then go and allow people that are selling goods and services. In this case, and my argument is that data is a need. And then you go and say you can sell in US dollars. And don't even give the option to sell in a local currency. So basically what you are saying to me is, I'm paying you this money, go and buy real money so that you can procure services from it. So those issues were raised, right? Now, to answer your question directly, why now? It's because it happened to me now. It happened to me now. It just turned out that we don't have a stable Wi-Fi provision at home, so I needed enough data bundles to be able to follow the political events. And then I'm trying to procure. It turns that I can't get them in local currency. I have to go out to go and get this USD airtime, and then I make a phone call because in the comfort that I have money to call anyway. By the time I want to buy data, it turns out my US dollar has been infringed upon, if you want to use that term.
When you're in parliament, you know, for me, I'm in the media.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask me about what transpired, I may answer one or two issues. I want to focus on what do you guys think and say when you're in parliament. Is it a club where you just go mix and drink? Is it a club where you just meet and go for workshops? What is it, something which is tangible? Can you say, we have done good for the people of Zimbabwe? Because everything that you are discussing there, to the ordinary person, it's not a welcome development. We have politicians that are in the parliament. We have politicians that are in parliament to represent the interest of the ordinary Zimbabweans that have voted for them. What is one thing, as you've always talked about the unpatriotic bill, the other things, what is one thing, can you say, we as parliamentarians, from the political parties that were in the Augusta House, say, we have done this for the benefit of Zimbabwe. And you can sit and say, this is the legacy that we have left the Zimbabweans.
Well, I can tell you this for sure, that it's unfortunate that people with a megaphone like yourself want to equalize all of us. And I don't think it's fair. Because remember, as we are there in Parliament, we come from different formations.
Yes.
And even within the same formation, we also have different persuasions. You saw when Constitutional Amendment number 2 came, I completely broke rank with much of my colleagues. and I think 2 or 3 of us, that includes Senator Chief Ndlovu. But the rest were excited about voting for that constitutional amendment under the false pretense that we have got this mantra, youth are not leaders for tomorrow, they're leaders for today. But yet, when the opportunity came to put those leaders in a position where they could, those youth in a position where they can lead, you couldn't register them. To put the women in a position where they could lead, you couldn't register them. Right? So I'm making a point that don't make us this homogeneous grouping. No. We have individual mandates.
Yeah, let's go to the individuals.
Right.
You interact with them.
Okay.
I want you to...
I'll come to that, but I wanted to give you, because you said lekes.
Yeah.
I can give you a lekes.
Yeah.
For myself. I can give you. I'll come to the collective. Okay. Right. In those dying days of Parliament, again, I had more than 5 people call me, Honorable, my kid has been kicked out of school, Honorable, my kid has been... So I paid for those 5 people's kids. And I said, no, man, this is not sustainable. At this rate, I'm going to have the whole school calling me. Yeah. These were different schools. So I came to Parliament on Thursday. Guess who shows up? The Deputy Minister for Basic Education. I'm like, wonderful. Right? What do I do now? I have an opportunity to ask him a question on government policy when it comes to kids who cannot afford. Right? He stands up, he answers about BEAM and these other intervention programs and whatever. Now, as if he knew what I wanted from him, he says, but government policy says you don't interfere with child education, which is a human right. And for your own information, he then listed a number of headmasters or principals, if you would, that action was being taken against because they had kicked kids out of school. So I had that on the Hansard. Then I smiled. I took that. I forwarded to different people, and I said, anytime the teacher or anyone interferes with your child's education, take this Hansard and say, Senator Phugeni said he's going to take you. He's going to report you to the police over this. And all that whole nonsense stopped, right? So that's the case. Number 2, I want to name but a few. Yeah. Number 2, that whole video that went viral about the Unpatriotic Act. Unpatriotic Act. You see, for an untrained person, that was just part and parcel of the job, but not really. If you remember the Kasukwere case, right? This is what the justice say, the Honorable Justice, the presiding officer. He says, none of the litigants decided to bring me the Hansard so I could have an appreciation of why this act came into being, right? Now, if you remember, when the minister brought the act, he was talking about, even if it's proven that what you said did not bring about sanctions, that's still not defense enough, if you remember. After we debated that, the minister pushed, he made concessions, you know, and he started saying, in fact, he ended up saying, no, they must be proven that you went there knowing that the discussions about sanctions and you went there to push for sanctions. Now, the minister's position eventually, or the Hansard, or the law eventually when it was passed, no one can be successfully convicted of that law. You just have to take the Hansard after our debate and take it there. And the presiding officer, if they are fair, if they are just, if justice is being administered equally, no one will be convicted. So I'm very proud that even though I know that when that law was conceived, they did not think of me. I don't think that I'm the target. I don't think I could ever be the target of that law. But I do not want to live in a country where a single Zimbabwean will be targeted because of their political views, because basically that law is targeting political speech. But
is there a Zimbabwean who can, you know, as an individual, probably go to America, go to Germany and say, I'm a leader of a political party, don't do A, B, C, D for the people of Zimbabwe so that they can serve?
That's what I'm saying. No one has ever done that. You see, it's a false narrative.
So my question, okay, I want you to put me in the mind of an ZANU-PF member of parliament supporting that bill. Do they support it from a well-informed position? Do they support it because someone within their political party has said? Because there are some things that we should say at a political rally. You know, there are things that we say in parliament that we believe should be for the benefit of Zimbabweans. Should then what people say at political rallies be turned into bills and believed by other members of parliament? Is it their level of thinking?
I don't think, and I can tell you this, in the Okas House, I've interacted with some ZANU-PF colleagues, you know, like for example, the chief whip, not at the Senate, at the National Assembly, but in Parliament you do mix when both houses are together. Wonderful Zimbabwean. Wonderful, wonderful Zimbabwean. They don't get better than that. A very reasonable person. Yeah, I'm answering your question.
But.
You know, no, I'm not going to say bad. Yeah, I just want to tell you because I'm answering your question because I don't want to paint a picture that ZANU MPs are different than any one of us. No, no.
But we think they are.
I'm going to get there. Wait.
Because if they vote in support of something that probably a certain section of people are against, it means they are different. They live in their own world.
No.
Members of parliament live in a different world.
No, but it's our politics. No, it's our politics. And when I'm saying our, I'm talking about all of us as Zimbabwe. But the notion that the members of parliament from ZANU-PF are somewhat of strange human beings than us, that's what I'm demystifying. There's nothing like that. They are human like me and you. I'm telling you, they've got feelings. Maybe the problem is we have always engaged them from a point of them versus us. No, I'm just talking about human beings. I'm going to come to the politics. They are human beings. To an extent that sometimes, in my experience, they were much warmer to me than my own colleagues. You're following this? Now, just to give you an example. When we meet as parliamentarians in these gatherings, there is a register which we mark, you know. Sometimes I'll struggle to get my own colleagues mark me in the register. I was playing a role in Senator Khupe's funeral. And I bumped to Honorable Wende and Honorable Vondo. And the register was spoken there, and I said, Ish, and I always struggle with this. And Honorable Wende said to Vondo, please make sure that he's marked right away now. Right? So that's a different caucus from my caucus.
Yeah.
Same thing with the ZANU colleagues. I get, like, for example, Senator Alice Dube, you know, Madam Tongokara, Senator Tongokara, Honorable Senator Tongokara. You know, I'm making these examples to show you that when we are seated in that house, we are so human. There isn't this animosity. We are not fighting. There isn't these strange creatures compared to us. But our politics in this country is so fractured, and we need to start to deal with it. Even if you look at our media, you know, there's the opposition media and there's the ZANU media, which is the state media in this case, which is supposed to be the state media, but it has offered itself to ZANU, right? The opposition media as well, which will involve you, Newsday, Daily News, Site, I don't know if Kambako qualifies as media, but anyway. So, can be easily classified as opposition media, right? So, then you discover that when positions are taken, most of the times they are not informed by anything of substance, but they are informed by partisan. That the party has taken this position and we're going to run with it. You must listen to them when they talk about sanctions in Parliament. And you can see that, no, this person is not thinking properly. You are talking about...
That's where my...
that's the politics. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the politics. You see? And we have a role, all of us, to, at the very least, empty ourselves of this toxic and partisan politics and begin to have a national vision of what is good for this country. Rob, I'll close by saying this, and I hope ZANU realizes this. Having only those that support them doing well is not sustainable. But having the whole entire country doing well, it is sustainable. Because at the end of the day, because they are the ones with businesses, they are the ones with cars and everything else, what are they going to sell to? Where is that money going to come from? I must do well for them to maintain that position or even be on the more upward trajectory.
Yeah, but maybe in the media for us, there is no opposition or ruling media. It is because it's the other side, like us, we give fair coverage to anyone. We give people platforms to air their views. Whereas probably to the state media, it becomes different where another political party wants to control. Obviously, for my colleagues, they have to toe the line because they have the families to feed. They can't invite you and speak against, a party that is in power. They will be sent home. We have been there, So sometimes it's not about, because we are professionals. You can take a journalist from the so-called opposition media and put them in the other media. They will perform very well and churn out propaganda to the level where you could not think, is this Roper? The guy that I was sitting with yesterday, because I am a professional. We are just like legal practitioners. We can represent anyone when it comes to that. Okay.
Well, I'm not going to argue more on that, but on another day I will give you examples. Yeah. But I'm very clear about the point which I raised. Even in the opposition, you've got your favorite. Yeah. This woman, who, by the way, needs all of our support. She's the only female candidate in a male-dominated field, as if the men have served us well in this country. You realize that before independence, even after independence, it's men who've been ruling this country. And they've done a terrible job. They've done a terrible job, right? But right now, this woman applies. What does ZEC do? It completely disenfranchises her and her supporters. That's what they did, right? Now, what should we do as a country? We should repudiate that action by ZEC, because ZEC became political as far as she's concerned. We must repudiate that action by voting her in numbers.
So are you saying whatever was happening to her, when she was failing to register, and it's political? Are you saying there are other people that are afraid of having? I think you
know that I'm not the one who easily makes careless statements about. Make an informed one. That's what I'm saying. This is an informed. Yeah. What ZEC did? What's her name? Is it Valeria? Valeria. Yeah. What ZEC did there? Valeria, yeah. That is criminal. No, that is criminal. You don't do that to a country that wants to empower women. Why are you doing that to her? That's extremely unfair. It's very, very unfair. In any event, if I have made a transfer, if there is proof of transfer, if I've made a transfer, it's called proof of payment in the business world. Yeah. It's called proof of payment. When I ask for proof of payment, I'm not asking for the bank statement of the receiving end. No, that's not proof of payment. Proof of payment is on my side. Yes. I have made the payment. Whether it gets there or whatever, that's another thing. So what you do is you check my proof of payment. Was that payment made on time? Yes, I've paid. You see? So what ZEC did there, it's unfortunate that in our country we just move on, man. We just move on. We should not move on. What they did to that woman is criminal, it's wrong, and we must condemn it. It must not be happening. And it's unfortunate that the chair lady, she's a judge. I don't want to be talking too much about her because at least I'm in front of her one of these days, But no, man, she must not do that. She must not do that.
Is it her or someone who controls?
Well, we are told she's the chairperson, right? And she accepted that she's the chairperson. So if she's not the chairperson, she must tell us. You know, unfortunate, I'm really disappointed in the way she treated that woman.
But maybe she's powerless as the ZEC chair.
Powerless by what? After all those powers that we gave her?
Don't know why,
the Constitution didn't give her too much powers.
Why is she not exercising them in the right way?
Look, I'm disappointed in the way she treated that woman. She did not give her a fair chance, right? We've got what, is it 10 men? She's the 11th one there. She lost, I think, over a month.
Yeah.
She couldn't do anything. And now she's coming in. If there was any fairness in this whole thing, that woman must start with 50 votes. Huh? When you start to count, we're saying 50,000. Bah! We've got 50,000 for Valeria. Then it starts 1, 2, 3. But she's already got a 50,000 because of what ZEC did. So, why she's not exercising powers, I don't know. I haven't met that accusation. The accusation I'm standing by is the unfairness treatment of that woman. That woman should have never been treated in the manner she was. She was sabotaged.
Still in Parliament, do you regret with some of the bills? I know you've talked about the unpatriotic one. Do you regret and say, as parliamentarians, on this one or two occasions, we could have done better for?
Constitutional Amendment number 2. Yeah. I ask myself this every day. How do our people move on and just forget that there was Constitutional Amendment number 2? Remember when ZANU, never mind that they don't have a manifesto now. When they gave us their manifesto in 2018, they never spoke about changing the Constitution. There was nothing, right? But they managed to change the Constitution, what is criminal to me, with the help of the MTC. You know, it's unforgivable. Because remember, a lot of our people died in that 2008 election, that runoff. A lot of our people died. I think that's when there was short sleeve, long sleeve, and all those things. And then you go and sell them out like that for a plate of soup. No.
I think I should be asking you that question. Why? Probably for
Rob,
why did you sort out
the
people that died?
Rob, I made my feelings felt at that time.
And why did your colleagues...
And you media did not help me. You allowed that thing to die. That thing should have never died. That thing should have never died. Now, they didn't give you a manifesto. They didn't give you a manifesto now. So, if you make the mistake and vote them, and they come and they change that constitution and remove term limits and remove, it's your fault. Because you are voting a party that is not giving you a manifesto. They are not giving you any promises.
But look, let's talk about members of parliament that were voted into parliament to protect the interests of ordinary peasants. I've asked you about that. And these are the people that vote for that amendment. So what do you want us as ordinary people?
You're asking the wrong person. Because
you talk to your colleagues. I'm not saying you can even name them.
Yeah.
To hear their views about voting for such a bill.
Yes.
Let's talk about for your colleagues.
I called them sellouts then. If you go and watch my interviews during that period, I called them sellouts then. I call them sellouts now.
Why did they, that's my question. You speak to them on one-on-one, in private. That's what I'm saying, without even naming them. Why did they vote in support of that amendment?
They didn't have to tell me this, but I could see that they sold out for a plate of soup. Yeah.
And sleep well with their conscience and say we've done...
Well, maybe, there's this thing called karma. Maybe that's why most of us couldn't register. Who knows?
So how is it now? We have seen quite a number, especially the 4 members of parliament that came out in open and say we are leaving MDC and we are joining ZANU-PF. What is the message to the electorate?
Well, I want to protect their right of association.
Yeah. But
Wait.
political.
Wait. I want to protect their right of association. I think it's very important. They also told you, I think they told you, if I heard them, this is what they said. And it's taking us to what I said I don't want to talk about. So please allow me just to pass there. But this is what they said. They said, we cannot fathom how a leader pays for himself, but later is not able to pay for us. That's what they said. But let's pass there. We'll come back to it after the elections.
And they said it's better to join.
We'll come to it.
So how has been the political environment during this campaign period?
Well, for the on my side, Rob,
yeah.
Some things are a blessing in disguise. I didn't know that it's so nice not to have a vested interest. Of course, I have a vested interest in the outcome, right? But I sleep, Rob, and wake up. I can watch videos later. It's very, very nice because I'm not taking part in these elections. So I listen and I analyze. Yesterday, Chamisa was in Bulawayo. Back to Econet, they throttled the network to make sure we had no internet until around 4 or 5. Again, another interfering with elections by corporate. Something which must be condemned. I just don't understand that behavior. But I also listen to him. He comes to Bulawayo. He politics with a very emotive issue. He says the people of Bulawayo have been marginalized. They are always given these minimal positions, deputies and what, no serious job. And then he speaks about the commissioner of police. Then he speaks about Army General. Then he says non-Ndebele. No, but PV is Ndebele. Right? That's number one. Number two, as he's saying that, his number one Senate candidate, his number two Senate candidate, they are not from Ndebele land. Right? He takes someone also not from Mateo and say, you lead these people. But then he comes to them because he's politicking. He wants to get their vote. He doesn't mean anything he's saying. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, this man can't get the irony. Right? You must walk the talk. You must not patronize our people. So I looked at that and I said, this young man, I'm not saying young man directly, I'm saying young man because that's how he's running his campaign. Yes. Nkoman, yes. I'm saying this young man is vandalizing his own opportunity. Rob, you couldn't get a better chance to at least get into the door, maybe squeeze a GNU than now. Right? But I don't think he appreciates the opportunity, right? Like his other colleague, they seem to think this is a game. ZANU is not playing, huh? ZANU understands power, they want to retain power. And you're playing, first of all, he removes all of those MPs. Who removes Pulu? Advocate Pulu. You remove Advocate Pulu. You remove Advocate BT. You don't have Honorable Pepe. You don't have Professor Welshman Ngube. There are all these big names. You don't have Dr. Gordon that are there to assist him.
But probably, I'm not part of that, but probably they are playing other roles. We cannot have an entitlement to a constituent and say big names. Big names can also play bigger roles within a political party. This idea of overstaying in parliament.
No, you're missing the point.
Let me put it this way. Look at Honorable Stembisonyo. When has she been in parliament, and where is she now?
You are bringing a pet example. Let me give you an example. In Country Park, there was real context when it was Dr. Khupe versus Professor Ngube. There was real context, right? You remove Dr. Khupe there. You basically throwing a young person into the deep end. That's what you are doing.
Yes, because to answer you, The leaders, the youth are not the leaders of tomorrow. It's now. Let them get into the game, feel it, and know that this is not a boys' game.
Robert.
Yeah. And besides,
with that approach, let me tell you.
In Zimbabwe for now, people don't vote for individuals. They vote for political
Let me tell you.
That's why even some parties can even say, even if we put a donkey, they can vote as long as it's coming from the other party.
No. This is the point you are missing. The point that I was making. If we have a Professor Khupe, right, you are going to get the number which you are going to get now, and you are going to get thousands more. Right?
So you are saying the candidate that is there cannot get...
Let me give you an example. And thank you so much for this. I'm not going to be detailed, but I'm just going to make it.
Yeah.
I was ill-treated somewhere. People like you decided we're not going to be part of this nonsense in solidarity with me. Right? But those people who ill-treated me, they still had media coverage. Right? But they didn't know that they've lost some media coverage because of their ill-treatment. That's the point I'm making. I'm saying there are certain big names that you begin to lose. You're not adding. You're just remaining there. You know. Now look at the 10 people that you're talking about that went to ZANU. They're going to vote ZANU from the MTC. They're going to vote ZANU. So they're adding. Right? What is going to be important right now for the opposition is not making a political statement. No. It's about building a broad coalition. That is why we have a youth quota, so that you can take the youth and put them there. You know, you don't throw them into the deep end. So you put the youth there, and then you put the women where they're supposed to be and all those things. And then you maintain. Now, right now, our 40,000, we have them. We're going to put them in the campaign. But now you've kicked out all of those MPs. These young people, they are coming to us for campaign funds. We do assist them because we like them. They're our boys. But you're not going to fight a heavily resourced machinery like ZANU with people who are going for handouts. You're not. That's the point I'm raising. Or that's my observation. It's my observation. I may well be wrong, but I think it's an opportunity, and it's a missed opportunity. This time, it was supposed to build a very big, grand coalition. Because if he misses it now, he might as well forget it.
I know you've worked very well with Dr. Thokozani Khupe.
Yeah.
And she broke away from MDC and formed another faction, but later on she said, no, let me join the triple scene. I know it might not be your question, but how do you view the position she took? The political position she took?
You know, the Bible speaks of angels in human form. I think it was talking about Dr. Khupe. Meaning there are no finer people in this country than here. Yeah. God doesn't make them any better than here. And I'm in no position whatsoever to judge her decisions, except to say I affirm them 100%. It's strange that she stayed as long as she stayed. The way she was treated by people who are not anywhere close to her stature and standing. She did her best. She loves this country a lot. She loves her people a lot. And I can say Nelson Chamisa is very much blessed to have her in his corner.
As we conclude, let's now focus on your political ambitions. Where to from now?
What I'm about to say may sound cliche, or people who just take things from the top may not hear me. Yeah. But I believe my feet are guided. And so, because of my love for this country, I'm not lost in the political scene. But what's going to happen, I don't know as well. safe to say higher hands are leading me. Yeah. So I don't know.
But now that okay, of the 10 or so contesting on the presidential race, whom do you think will win?
I've already told you that men are a dismal failure in this country. I've told you, right? All of them, right? Maybe you can pick and say it's better than, you know, but we have failed. Let me put it this way. So I'm including myself.
Yeah.
We have failed, Rob.
Yeah.
We have failed. We have failed our people. The opposition guy is worse. Maybe you know. So if Zimbabweans want to carry on in this same trajectory, that's their choice, right? So it's their choosing. What that will mean is a dysfunctional health system. That's what it will mean. We'll carry on in that trajectory. That roads that are no longer death traps, but that are coffins. People are dying even as they're coming out of these rallies. They are dying in our roads, right? An economy that is stubborn, that is not moving. Can I make another prediction for you? Yeah. After the election, electricity is going to go. And you know where it will be going to? To South Africa, because they have a tough election next year, the ANC. So we won't have electricity. So get ready for that. We're not going to have that. I come from Bulawayo. There's no water. We hear about the Kwai Shangane, whatever. HE, thank you so much. But I haven't drank a drop of it. So it's okay. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So, and I spoke about the children's education. They basically make sure, first of all, it's poor performing government schools. Private schools are unaffordable. Yesterday I saw a headline saying government or cabinet okays USD fees for universities. So these young people I saw here doing attachments, they may not even have the money to pay, or their siblings might not have money to go in there. So that's the country we're in now. So if your vote is the same, that means we're in this. That's where we are in. And so I'm tempted to say to Zimbabweans, give this woman a chance, man. She's a scientist after all. And scientists and engineers, their role is to come up with solutions to men's problems and challenges. So give her a chance.
Senator Phugeni, thank you very much for coming and share your views with us and the electorate. I know you had a long journey from Kobulawayo.
Yes.
You want to go and rest and do other things.
Yes.
So we need to let you go.
Yeah, I thank you so much. It's my first time in this studio. I don't know why. I hope it's not the last.
It is not the last. Yeah, you heard it from Senator Phugeni. He was also sharing his views with you and me as well. Don't judge him wrongly. If you feel you need to challenge him, this is the platform. You can come here and speak independently. You can come and debate with him independently. All of us, we are Zimbabweans. We may differ on how